Emperor Nero first appeared, Rome was filled with hope for a new era, one of art, tolerance, and renewal. The citizens were captivated by his charismatic presence, and even the Senate looked to his early policies with anticipation. Shortly after his accession, Nero proclaimed a cultural and artistic revival throughout Rome. Frequent performances at festivals earned him widespread acclaim from the populace, who hailed him as a reforming ruler. Yet his drive to unite both politics and art gradually became a source of unrest for the empire. In his youth, Nero dreamed of creating a golden age of art in which music, poetry, and theater thrived. He spared no expense supporting these endeavors, briefly ushering in an artistic renaissance for Rome. Guided by the philosopher Seneca, Nero initially pursued cautious governance. He openly aimed to combine virtue and leadership with artistic excellence in shaping Rome's future, yet this delicate balance was not to last. Over time, Nero's lifestyle descended into excess and extravagance. Lavish feasts became the norm, while nobles feared every shift in his mood. The emperor's vanity soon placed an ever-growing burden on Roman society. Political plots and tensions rose around Nero, escalating by the day. Though the Senate tried to keep his autocratic impulses in check, it could do little in the face of the emperor's expanding authority. Even Seneca could not halt Nero's recklessness. Their mentor-mentee relationship unraveled, while the emperor's hunger for power grew, and he ceased listening to any voice of caution. Resentment and distrust toward the emperor mounted across Rome. From this point onward, the cracks in Nero's authority became increasingly visible. The Great Fire of at 64 plunged Rome into a vortex of terror and upheaval. The swiftly spreading blaze devoured wooden structures with alarming speed, driving citizens into the streets in search of refuge. Some accounts claim Nero played music while the city burned, whether driven by indifference or some other motive. This episode stoked rumors that fanned the public's suspicion toward him. With no professional firefighting force in place, soldiers and civilians joined efforts to control the flames, yet the fire raged unchecked, endangering iconic monuments throughout Rome. Once word spread that Nero's palace was left remarkably unscathed, many blamed the emperor for the catastrophe. Public anger soared, striking a severe blow to Nero's legitimacy. Though the fire destroyed much of the city, it failed to extinguish the people's will to rebuild. Survivors searched amid the rubble, while Roman soldiers labored day and night to restore a semblance of order. Proclaiming ambitious reconstruction plans, Nero strove to regain the people's confidence, yet suspicion lingered, and resentment only grew among those who believed him responsible for Rome's ruin. In the fallout of the fire, Nero cast blame on the Christians, making them scapegoats for the devastation. Their cries echoed through the city, deepening the disquiet that walled Rome. Even as rebuilding proceeded, distrust toward the emperor refused to die down. Many citizens came to believe Nero himself bore responsibility for the fire, fueling their anger further. In his final years, Nero's rule became steeped in paranoia and betrayal. Rebellions and conspiracies flared across the empire, while the emperor himself fell victim to a deepening sense of dread. The Senate and nobles began plotting to end his tyranny. Indeed, many in Rome looked beyond Nero, envisioning life after his downfall. Beset by revolt and turmoil on all sides, Nero's support base eroded. Like cracks in Rome's iconic ego standard, the emperor's authority was shattering with every passing day. At last, Nero fled Rome, pursued by rebels and abandoned by any who once protected him. Wandering alone through the night, the emperor's plight revealed the fragility of power. Nero's death signaled the end of a tumultuous chapter in Rome's history. His life, intertwined with art, excess, and eventual ruin, starkly illustrated the outcome of power run amok. In the aftermath of Nero's demise, Rome gradually rose again. Large-scale reconstruction projects took shape amid the ashes, and the populace rediscovered hope for the city they loved. Ascended to the throne, Vespasian restructured Rome's governance and steadied its administration. Practical policy signaled the dawn of a restorative era, offering renewed trust to the people. As temples, shops, and the forum itself were slowly restored, Rome once again epitomized the empire's grandeur. A fresh outlook and a renewed optimism shone on every citizen's face. In the end, by rebuilding both its structure and governance, Rome overcame the chaos of Nero's era and continued to uphold the empire's influence and cultural legacy, like an olive tree rooting itself through centuries of adversity. Contemporary historians and political scientists study Nero's story as a double-edged sword of charismatic leadership. It highlights how fostering art and popular appeal can coincide with unchecked power, providing insight into modern organizations and states. Early in his tenure, Nero was an emperor who cherished the arts and won mass favor, yet unbridled power and extravagance plunged Rome into crisis. This dichotomy delivers a forceful message on the responsibility of leadership. Histories of failed leadership warn us still today. Nero's downfall teaches that restraint of power and consideration for the public good are essential pillars of stable governance. Amid the ruins and modern art coexisting, we see that while Nero's cultural contributions and his tyranny both deserve remembrance, they also present an enduring set of questions for our future. The past never truly disappears, it stands as a mirror for what lies ahead. Rome ultimately outlived Nero's dark shadow. However, his story remains a stark lesson on the perils of absolute power and the complex interplay between art and authority, resonating in the present day. Rome's history does not merely reside in the past, it continues to influence contemporary politics, economy, and culture. The case of young Nero's downfall shows how power and creativity can collide or converge even today. The core message Rome imparts is ever the same. It embraces both triumph and tragedy in one breath, while offering humanity the wisdom and reflection we so often need. Though Nero's era has ended, Rome's narrative goes on. Like the stars in the night sky, its legacy forever shines, offering us both foresight and caution for what tomorrow may bring.